"You're fired." Those two words shattered my world as I stood there, 7 months pregnant, my hand instinctively moving to protect my unborn child. My boss didn't even have the decency to look me in the eyes as he destroyed my future with a casual flick of his wrist. Every morning began with the same ritual. I'd wake up at 5:30, my swollen feet and aching back reminding me of the precious life growing inside me. Despite the discomfort, I never missed a day of work, not once in my 3 years at Reynolds Financial Group. The morning sickness, the doctor's appointments, the sleepless nights, I pushed through it all. I was determined to prove that pregnancy wouldn't affect my performance. "Rebecca, your quarterly numbers are exceptional," my supervisor had told me just 2 weeks earlier. I've never seen someone so dedicated. Her words had filled me with pride. As a single mother-to-be, I needed this job more than anyone could understand. The father had vanished the moment I showed him the positive pregnancy test, leaving me alone to face what should have been our shared journey. The betrayal still burned fresh in my memory every time I felt my baby kick. The morning I was fired started like any other. I arrived early, prepared the quarterly reports, and even brought donuts for the team. Then came the email from Mr. Reynolds himself. "See me in my office at 11. I can still picture every detail of that room, the mahogany desk, the view of the city skyline, the family photos displaying his perfect wife and 3 children. The irony wasn't lost on me as I stood before him, a single mother-to-be about to lose everything while he sat surrounded by images of the family he went home to every night. "Rebecca, you've been a valuable member of our team," he began, not even offering me a seat despite my visible pregnancy. "But with the company's current direction, we need people who can commit 100%. "I've never missed a deadline," I protested, my voice trembling. "My numbers are the best in the department." "It's not about your past performance," he said coldly. "It's about what you can offer going forward. With a baby on the way." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I was escorted out by security, my personal belongings mailed to me later. 3 years of dedication ended in 15 minutes. The humiliation burned through me as colleagues watched me waddle toward the elevator. A cardboard box with my desk plant the only thing they allowed me to carry out. That night, I cried until there were no tears left. My hands shook as I calculated my savings against my mortgage, the upcoming medical bills, and the countless expenses a newborn would bring. The numbers didn't add up. They weren't even close. I placed my hand on my stomach and felt my daughter kick, as if reminding me she was counting on me. "We'll get through this, little one," I whispered to my unborn daughter, trying to convince myself as much as her. "Mommy just needs to figure things out." The following weeks passed in a blur of job rejections. No one wanted to hire a woman who would need maternity leave almost immediately. Each email that began with "We've decided to pursue other candidates" felt like another nail in the coffin of my career. My savings dwindled, and desperation set in like a physical weight on my chest, making it hard to breathe some nights. I sold my car, then my grandmother's jewelry. I cut every expense I could think of, subsisting on ramen noodles and canned soup, feeling guilty that my unborn child wasn't getting the nutrition she deserved. The shame of it all, having to ask my landlord for an extension, applying for government assistance, pawning items I'd worked so hard to acquire, felt unbearable some days. Then came the moment that changed everything. I was sitting in my small apartments, surrounded by job listings I'd circled in red, when my phone rang. It was Patricia Winters, a former client I'd helped at Reynolds. "Rebecca, I heard what happened," she said. "It's disgraceful how they treated you." I swallowed hard, embarrassment washing over me. "I'm figuring things out." The tears threatened to come again, but I blinked them back furiously. "I have a proposition for you," Patricia continued. "I've been thinking of starting my own financial consultancy firm. Smaller scale, more personal service. I need someone with your expertise." "Patricia, I'm due in less than 2 months," I reminded her, my voice breaking despite my efforts to sound professional. "I know," she said simply, "and I don't care. We can work around it. Your talent is worth waiting for." For the first time in weeks, hope flickered within me. "Are you sure?" I whispered, afraid to believe it. "More than sure," she replied. "In fact, I've already secured our first 3 clients. They specifically asked for you." 2 months later, my beautiful Emma was born. Patricia was there in the hospital, holding my hand through the 20-hour labor. I screamed and pushed and cried, convinced I couldn't do it until the moment my daughter's wailing cry filled the room, and they placed her tiny perfect body on my chest. "You did it," Patricia whispered, wiping tears from her own eyes. "You're the strongest person I know, Rebecca." While I recovered and bonded with my daughter, she kept our fledgling business running, bringing documents to the hospital for me to sign between feedings and diaper changes. Working from home with a newborn wasn't easy. I'd make client calls during nap times, analyze portfolios while breastfeeding, and draft proposals in the quiet hours of the night when exhaustion turned my vision blurry. There were moments I'd find myself crying alongside Emma at 3 a.m., both of us overwhelmed for different reasons. But I was making it work, on my own terms, with a boss who valued me as both a professional and a mother. 1 year turned into 5. Winters and Shaw Financial Partners grew from Patricia's little idea into a respected boutique firm with 15 employees. I was no longer just an advisor but a full partner, my name proudly displayed on our letterhead. The day the new sign went up, I took a picture of myself standing beneath it, Emma on my hip, and sent it anonymously to Mr. Reynolds. Petty, perhaps. Satisfying. Absolutely. Emma grew too, becoming a bright, curious child who loved to sit in my home office and work alongside me. There were sacrifices, birthday parties missed for client meetings, bedtime stories interrupted by emergency calls, the perpetual guilt that comes with being a working mother. But there was also immense pride in showing my daughter what resilience looked like, what a woman could accomplish even when the odds were stacked against her. "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be like you," she told me one evening as I tucked her into bed. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" I asked, smoothing her hair. "You help people with their money and make them happy," she said with the simple wisdom of a 5-year-old. "And you're not afraid of anyone." Her words struck deep. Had I become fearless? The woman who had sobbed on her kitchen floor, terrified of the future, seemed like someone else entirely. Yet I remembered her viscerally, the taste of salt from her tears, the ache in her chest, the trembling of her hands as she wondered how she would survive. 10 years after that fateful day in Mr. Reynolds' office, Winters and Shaw had become one of the most successful boutique financial firms in the city. We had expanded to 50 employees, with offices in 3 states. Our client list included names that would have made my former boss's eyes widen. Every step of the journey had been hard-won. The nights I'd worked until dawn, the school events I'd attended with my laptop open beside me, the vacations interrupted by crisis calls. I'd built this company inch by painful inch, fueled by a determination that sometimes felt like pure spite. Emma was now 10, excelling in school and showing a remarkable aptitude for mathematics. Each day I looked at her and felt overwhelming gratitude for the journey that had brought us here. Being fired had been the best thing that ever happened to me, though I wouldn't have believed it at the time. Then came the day that brought everything full circle. I was reviewing client portfolios when my assistant knocked on my door. "Miss Shaw, there's someone here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he's quite insistent." I glanced at my calendar. "Who is it?" "A Mr. Reynolds. He says you used to work for him." My heart skipped a beat. After all these years, what could he possibly want? "Send him in," I said, straightening my jacket and feeling a strange mix of emotions crash through me. Anger, curiosity, and a vindictive thrill I wasn't proud of. The man who walked through my door was barely recognizable as the imposing figure who had fired me. His hair had grayed considerably, deep lines etched into his face, his expensive suit hanging loosely on his frame. His eyes, once cold and dismissive, now carried a haunted look I recognized from my own mirror years ago. The look of someone whose world was crumbling. "Rebecca," he said, his voice softer than I remembered. "Thank you for seeing me." I gestured to the chair across from my desk, observing him carefully. "What can I do for you, Mr. Reynolds?" My voice was professional, betraying none of the turmoil beneath. He sat down heavily, his shoulders slumped. "I'm sure you're surprised to see me." "I am," I admitted. "It's been a long time." 15 years, he said. "I've followed your career from afar. What you've built here is impressive." His eyes darted around my spacious corner office, taking in the awards on the wall, the view of the city that rivaled his own. I nodded, waiting for him to get to the point, while memories of cleaning out my desk under security's watchful eye played in my mind. "Reynolds Financial is struggling," he finally confessed. "We've lost major clients to your firm and others. Our reputation has suffered, and we're facing potential bankruptcy." I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction, quickly followed by guilt for the emotion. Part of me, a part I wasn't proud of, wanted to savor his downfall, To see it as cosmic justice for what he'd done to me. I'm sorry to hear that, I said instead, keeping my voice neutral. I'm not here for sympathy, he said, meeting my eyes for the first time. I'm here to ask for your help. I leaned back in my chair, genuinely stunned. My help? Why would I help you? The audacity almost made me laugh. Because you're the best, he said simply. Because you've built something extraordinary here, and I was too blind to see your potential. Because I made the biggest mistake of my career when I let you go. The irony was almost too perfect. Mr. Reynolds, you fired me when I was 7 months pregnant and had nowhere else to go. My voice remained steady, but I felt the old anger stirring beneath my professional veneer. You left me without health insurance just weeks before I gave birth. He flinched as if I'd struck him. I know, it was unconscionable. If I could take it back, but you can't. I finished for him. What exactly are you asking for? A merger. Reynolds Financial merged with Winters and Shaw. Your expertise, your client base, your leadership. You would be in control, of course. I stared at him, processing the magnitude of what he was suggesting. You want me to save the company that threw me away? Yes, he admitted. And I know I have no right to ask. I studied the man before me, trying to reconcile him with the callous boss who had changed my life with 2 brutal words. 15 years ago, I'd have given anything for this moment, to see him humbled, needing me. But the taste of revenge wasn't as sweet as I'd imagined. Instead, I felt an unexpected compassion for this diminished man. I'll need to discuss this with Patricia. This isn't just my decision. Of course, he nodded eagerly. Take all the time you need, but please, consider it. After he left, I sat motionless at my desk, memories flooding back. I remembered the security guard's embarrassed expression as he escorted me out, the weight of my box of belongings against my pregnant belly, the sleepless nights wondering how I would provide for my child. The moment I'd broken down in the shower where the sound of the water masked my sobs from the neighbors. That evening, Emma found me on our balcony, staring out at the city lights, a glass of wine untouched beside me. Mom, are you okay? She asked, perceptive as always. At 15, she'd grown into a thoughtful young woman with my determination and an emotional intelligence that sometimes left me in awe. I pulled her close. I am just thinking about how life surprises us sometimes. Good surprises? She inquired, leaning her head on my shoulder. Sometimes good, sometimes challenging, I told her, but it's how we respond to those surprises that defines us. She nodded thoughtfully. Like when you lost your job before I was born, and then you and Aunt Patricia started your own company. I looked at her in surprise. You know about that? Aunt Patricia told me. She said it was the bravest thing she'd ever seen, that most people would have given up, but you became even stronger. Her words settled into my heart. I had never thought of myself as brave, just desperate, determined and unwilling to fail my daughter. I remembered those early days, nursing Emma while on conference calls, typing reports with one hand while rocking her bassinet with my foot, the bone-deep exhaustion that never seemed to lift. Do you know who came to see me today? I asked her. She shook her head. Mr. Reynolds, the man who fired me. Her eyes widened. I'd told her the story before, not to foster resentment, but to show her how adversity could become opportunity. What did he want? He wants to merge his company with ours. His business is failing, and he needs our help to save it. Emma's expression hardened, protective anger flashing in her eyes. I hope you told him where to go. I laughed softly. Not exactly. I'm considering it, actually. Why would you help him? She demanded, the righteous indignation of youth in her voice. After what he did to you, to us. It was a fair question, one I'd been asking myself all day. Because business isn't about emotion, it's about opportunity. And this could be a good opportunity for our company. She studied me carefully. Is that really, or is it because you want to show him that you're better than he was to you? Her insight struck me silent for a moment. Was that what this was about? Proving I was morally superior? Maybe a bit of both, I admitted. What do you think I should do? She considered this seriously. I think you should do whatever makes you feel proud when you look in the mirror, not what makes you look good to him or anyone else. The next morning I called Patricia into my office and told her about Reynolds' proposal. Her initial reaction was exactly what I expected. Are you kidding me? She exclaimed. After what he did to you, tell him to go bankrupt with his dignity intact. I smiled at her loyalty. That was my first instinct too. But, she asked, knowing me too well. But I've been thinking about it all night, I admitted. This isn't about revenge or vindication. It's a business decision. A business decision that would save the man who threw you out when you were most vulnerable," she pointed out, pacing my office with the energy that had always complemented my more measured approach. "Yes," I acknowledged. "But it would also mean growth for us, entry into markets we've been trying to penetrate for years, and job security for our employees." I paused, considering the personal angle. And maybe, just maybe, it would finally close that chapter of my life. Let me move forward for that shadow hanging over me. Patricia studied me. "You're seriously considering this, aren't you?" "I am," I said. "Not for him, but for us. For the company we've built. For all the other pregnant women who might benefit from the policies we'd implement when we take over." After days of discussions, financial analyses, and legal consultations, I called Mr. Reynolds back to my office. This time I invited Patricia to join us. The conference room felt charged with tension as he entered, looking even more haggard than before. "We've considered your proposal," I told him, "and we're prepared to move forward with conditions." The relief on his face was palpable. "Name them." "First, the company will be renamed Shaw and Winters Group. Reynolds Financial will cease to exist as a brand." He nodded slowly. "That's fair." I could see the pain in his eyes at the erasure of his family name, the legacy he'd built, but he accepted it without protest. "Second, you will step down as CEO. You can remain as a consultant if you wish, but leadership decisions will be made by Patricia and me." Another nod, more reluctant this time. "Third, and most importantly," I continued, "we will implement a comprehensive parental leave policy for all employees, with guaranteed job security and flexible return options." My voice grew firmer. 12 weeks paid leave for all new parents regardless of gender. Work-from-home options for those with children under 5. On-site childcare at our main office, and a zero-tolerance policy for pregnancy discrimination. His eyes met mine, understanding the significance. "Of course, if you agree to these terms and our legal team approves the final arrangement, we have a deal," I concluded. "I agree," he said without hesitation. "And Rebecca, thank you." As he extended his hand, 15 years of history hung between us. In that moment, I realized something profound. My success wasn't defined by this man's recognition, or by proving him wrong. It had been built day by day, challenge by challenge, with my daughter at the center of everything. I shook his hand firmly. "Don't thank me yet, Mr. Reynolds. The real work is just beginning." 3 months later, Shaw and Winters Group launched officially. The business press covered the merger extensively, often highlighting the irony of my journey from fired pregnant employee to CEO. One business magazine even put Emma and me on their cover, with the headline, "The Best Revenge, Massive Success." The day the magazine hit newsstands, Emma brought a copy to breakfast. "You look powerful," she said approvingly, examining the cover photo where we stood back to back, both in business attire, my hand on her shoulder. "Do I?" asked, seeing only a woman who had fought her way through impossible circumstances, who still woke up some nights in cold sweats, afraid it would all disappear. "Terrifying," she confirmed with a grin. "In the best way possible." But as I stood addressing our combined staff of over 100 employees on our first official day, I made something clear. This isn't a story of revenge, I told. It's a story about resilience, about creating opportunity from adversity, and about building a company that values people as its greatest asset. I glanced at Emma, now 15, sitting proudly in the front row. We've all faced moments when life hasn't gone according to plan, when doors closed that we thought would remain open. The question isn't whether those moments will come, but how we'll respond when they do. My eyes found Mr. Reynolds, now a consultant, watching from the back of the room. Sometimes the thing that seems like your greatest failure becomes the foundation for your greatest success. Sometimes the person who hurt you becomes the catalyst for your transformation. Later that evening, Emma and I sat in our favorite ice cream shop, celebrating in our own quiet way. I watched her as she texted her friends, occasionally looking up to share a thought with me. This remarkable young woman was the unexpected gift of my darkest hour, and I couldn't imagine my life without her. "I'm proud of you, Mom," she said suddenly, putting down her phone. "Not just for the company, but for helping Mr. Reynolds even after what he did." I considered her words. Sometimes the strongest response isn't holding on to anger, but moving beyond it. He made a terrible decision, but in the end that decision led me here. To this life, this success, and most importantly, to raising you on my own terms. She smiled, her eyes, so like mine, shining with understanding beyond her years. "Do you think he's learned anything?" "I hope so," I replied. "But whether he has or hasn't doesn't define our story. We wrote that ourselves, one day at a time." As we walked home, hand in hand under the city lights, I marveled at how completely my life had transformed. From the darkest moment of professional betrayal had come my greatest triumph. Not just in business, but in showing my daughter the power of perseverance, integrity, and forgiveness. The pregnant woman crying on her kitchen floor could never have imagined this future. But then again, she couldn't have known just how strong she would become. What would you do if someone who once rejected you came back asking for your help? Would you give them a second chance, or turn them away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales of triumph over adversity. Your support helps us create more powerful stories that remind us all. Sometimes life's greatest setbacks lead to our most extraordinary comebacks. Turn on notifications so you never miss our newest uploads.